Welcome to Podcast This Escape, the podcast where we talk about the escape room that we escaped from in the previous episode of this podcast. Cara, thank you so much. It was a fantastic room.
Oh, thank you. It was so much fun to run it.
I had a lot of fun. It was reminiscent of some of the like witchy rooms that we've done in the past.
That's true, but it was organized. It was like I'm really enjoying this idea of just here is very early on just a checklist, things that you can achieve.
That is
helpful
a nice
to know
feeling.
where things are going.
Yeah, that was a really nice element of this room.
I don't usually do that in mine, but I see the value in it.
Yeah, of being like, you have a quest, and the quest is this list of ingredients. You need to know the spell. And it was like, okay, so we can sort of tick things off as we go, and it's fun both as like it's fun to complete a quest and to like tick them all off, but also it gives you a sort of a reassurance of like, I'm making progress.
Yeah.
I know what I've achieved, and I know what I've been given.
Additionally, I also feel it is incredibly helpful for magic-based rooms. Because that is where logic can be harder to follow, and it's much harder for you to get a train of, I know exactly what is going to make sense. So having the list of things that you can achieve that keeps you on track in that way.
You don't have to know how magic works. You just know what you need. You have that. Was this always part of your room from the beginning? Or was this something that got added as you were playing? Or how early on were you like, I'm going to give them a little recipe?
I think that was pretty much from the beginning. Yeah.
Fair.
Because, before getting that, there's always part of my head that goes, oh, yeah, cool. We're just going to find a vial of ointment somewhere. And so that certainly could have been an option. But no, we were creating. The other thing that is much harder to deal with, I feel, and again, I have put this in rooms, and I find it very challenging to manage because the players can really mess around with it, is essentially an index book of some sort, where it's just, no, you'll know what to look up, and then you get to figure out like how generous to be with their decisions and things like that. I find that challenging. How do you find that?
Yeah, and it's funny too because you two did it in a bit of an unusual order, I'll say, compared to some of the play tests that I did.
Interesting.
And so like the beanstalk often comes right close to the beginning. People are like, oh, beanstalk, let's go. And so I kind of had to figure out how to be like, yes, there are vines in this book, and one of them is for beans.
Yeah, that makes sense. How funny. So what order did playtesters normally do things in?
I mean, kind of all over the place, to be honest, which is nice. Like, because you have that checklist, it can be really non-linear. But I liked the order that you did it in because I think that, if you get the spell too soon, then it's kind of anticlimactic. You got it like most of the way through the room. But yeah, my instinct and my expectation is always that you're just going to go in the order that I described it. But of course, people jump all around.
Oh, true. I will say, when we're talking about getting that spell, when we lining up the rainbow to that carving, especially once noticing, it's like, it says rainbow, and then like,
well done for anagramming it.
Like, and when I didn't even do it deliberately. Like, I just opened it the third time we opened it, and I just saw, that's the word rainbow. I'm looking at the word rainbow.
Yeah, you nailed that. It was a great puzzle.
But the puzzle was fantastic.
Rocked then, that one.
Like, when you line it up, and it looks really cool. It's like, oh, I've achieved something straight away. Like, you see it lined up, and it's like, I feel accomplished because this matches in such a beautiful way. But then to still have a little bit of leftover, but wait, what do I get out of this? Like, what does it mean? And we spend a while fumbling around about like seeing how
it's really impressively put together, and really a lovely coincidence. Just the level of difficulty of being able to see it in the word rainbow, like choosing the word rainbow to scramble up and use as your basis for this. The fact that it isn't an immediate giveaway, but it's also figure-outable. That's very nice.
Yeah,
very
I thought that
convenient.
was a really nicely put
really
together
clever
thing. It was really fun to do, and every moment of that was like a cool, like, oh yeah, oh wow, oh okay, next bit, oh, I'm not going to do the next bit. Is that something that you sort of like had
how did that one happen?
Whole cloth when you came up? Was like, or did it take a bit of iterating and figuring out how do it's almost there, but I really got to make it work?
Yeah, so that one was a bit of a later add because it was funny, Bill, you'd mentioned right near the beginning when you're reading the scroll and you said, oh, it doesn't just say the spell. that was the original solution, and it just was so unsatisfying that people just had to say the words "the spell" at the end.
Sure.
And so I was like, okay, I need a puzzle for this. And then from there, I don't know, I really like rainbow type puzzles. Like I just find there's something satisfying about the sort of color orders. And then I think the sort of the petals and the five, I think I was kind of inspired by the Pigpen cipher idea of just like the different positions and
I mean, I love this. I almost want to just use it forever, just make it a canon thing to be like, oh, we're doing the rainbow cipher.
Yeah,
this is
it feels
rainbow
real.
cipher. It's 5 positions on each of the colors as you go through. Because I really like that. Yeah, that cross-referencing.
You mentioned it being a later edition. Before we started recording, you said there was one puzzle that you like literally just added in. It wasn't that one, was it?
No, yes, what was that?
That would have been a lot for,
I don't know.
for a quick last-minute creation.
So I don't believe this made the original recording. But yeah, you were saying before we started recording that there was one thing that changed just before. Yeah, what was it?
Yeah, so originally the clue to smoke the bees was just a really simple like picture, like a puff of smoke, a bee, and a honeycomb, and it just wasn't really a puzzle. It was just like you open the curtains and that's the information. And so yeah, it's the bee path puzzle is the one that I did today, and then I'm texting my friends going, wait, does this actually make sense?
No, it was beautiful.
It was good. And it was pretty. Like, it wasn't a super complicated part. Like, once you saw the two things and connected it, it was like, but it's it has that moment of that realization of like, I've seen this before.
That was the first one where we got that click of recognition. Like, we'd looked at a lot of things and weren't sure what to do with them. We saw that one. That was the first one that we went, oh, thank God, a puzzle. I get this. I understand. So that was nice. Now, I did like using hexagons, as you said during it. You say, hexagons, honeycomb. I went, yep.
Yeah, thematically was fun. Like, it looks honeycomby. I thought it was really nice. One thing that we did, which I'll probably cut down a bit, because I think we have a tendency to do this. It's happened to us many times, which is someone goes, here's my introduction. You see all this, this, and this, and this. With the expectation of, so we say, let's open the door and go in. And instead, we spent like 25 minutes being like, I look at this and I dig around at this thing and I refuse to end. It's like we haven't even started the room yet and we're wasting a lot of time. Did anyone else spend as much time as us outside the cabin, wary to commit to going in? Or did most people just be like, all right, let's go inside the cabin?
Well, everyone takes a quick look at kind of the window, the tree and the window box. But yeah, then once they go over to the door, I don't think I've had anyone quite as wary, but it makes sense. You don't know what kind of GM I'm going to be if I'm going to let you enter and then go, haha.
you didn't pick it up.
Too bad.
You didn't pick up the cloth, so you failed forever. And you saved your game once you were inside. Now you have to start again.
Then everything just becomes use the poker and attach it to lots of other things, and you got to do a lot of grabbing of stuff from outside.
Yeah, like when we first started, I thought, oh, I see, there's no handle on the door because we're in the escape room now. Like the whole escape room will be getting into the cabin, and then once we get in, there'll just be a piece of potion in there. That was what was going through my brain.
I did not visualize that, but because I had already drawn a rectangle for the inside of the cottage before we had gotten in. So I clearly expected to go in and do lots of stuff inside, but I did not expect to be magically given a doorknob. That is true. I did expect to have to climb a tree to get in.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go through the chimney.
I thought that was fair. Bit worrisome since there was smoke coming out of it, but
we would need to find a bucket of water first.
I can't think of any fairy tales in which that's ever gone wrong.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I had a lot of fun looking through the whole room. Now, I do think, as I was saying in the episode, we sort of did the trade book for token thing backwards, maybe. Was there an intention that we would, like, find the books first and not be able to do anything with them? Like, what would have happened if we had no tokens or books or anything like that? Just a bunch of dusty books?
Yeah, so it was funny because you didn't actually ask to look at the bookshelf. You went straight to the drawer, and so
it seemed less intimidating.
Yeah, and fair enough. But yeah, it would have just been if you tried to remove any of the books when they were dusty, they wouldn't move, and so you had to unlock them. Yeah,
nice. And then we found the other book, and we could trade it for a token.
Cool. Would you have You just recognized a bee smoker.
Yeah, I can just picture a bee smoker.
Would you have still assumed that that's exactly what we were doing and gone on to that if we hadn't solved the bee puzzle? Like saying, smoke bee, happy bee.
I think I would have noticed. I've been like, that's going to be a bee smoker. But I think it would have been, that will be a bee smoker once we find something in the room to tell us about smoking.
Fair enough.
Because we'd already had that hint about the smoking of bees, I'm like, great. Now we know enough to be like, that's a bee smoker. Like,
gotcha.
I didn't feel bad just knowing it.
I shudder to think how long that would have taken me to recognize. That worries me.
Well, you would have found the bee on the bottom of the smoker. So hopefully that would.
It's one of those things, like, when you're dealing with this sort of audio medium that, like, I think I pictured, like, it slotted into place what it was when you were like, it's like a sort of like a bellows and it's sort of like a kettle that like attached. But Dani has like an accordion, like a picture of a long accordion. What was it? Yeah, like a long accordion, and at one end of the accordion there's a little canister, and it's like, that's not quite right. Like,
oh yeah, okay, my accordion was way too long.
Yeah, exactly, right. So it's one of those things where you sort of have to, sometimes there's this interesting balance of like, I hope the thing I'm describing, like, I want to not just say it looks like a bee smoker, I want to say it's like, it's this that
I just googled it to find an image, just to get some images of it. Bee smokers are really cheap.
Let's buy one. We can smoke some bees. But yeah, so it's like that's we've had that before sometimes where like 30 minutes into a game we're sitting there going like, why haven't they done this yet? Why haven't the people done this? And they go, what are you talking about? We can't move that thing. It's like 10 feet long. It's like, no, what? No, it's handheld. Like, what?
I mean,
all right, let's start again.
This was what we did to ourselves with that inscription on the table with the letters of rainbow.
Yeah, I did the exact. Yeah, I made the opposite. Like, I was like, it's massive.
Yeah,
table
Cara,
big.
This was nothing.
Big.
Like, this is nothing on you. This is just what happens in these rooms when people invent them in their own heads for no reason.
Make up your own red herrings, and then you get stuck on them. It's sort of what happens. But yeah, because my that was the thing that required me to adjust my mental pictures of like, to me, it was like rainbow thing is like this big. I keep picturing it like a little trinket you'd wear around your neck. And then table is table sized. So it's like, and I was like, there's no way these things will line up. One fits between my fingers and the other one's like my arm width. It's like, no one ever said that. You've made that up.
Right. Well, and the sturdiness of the table probably didn't help with that kind of visualization. Yeah. And I think that's a bit of a relic from originally you were supposed to, there was going to be like a hook and you would need to use the poker to pull open a hatch.
And then stand
one
on
of
the
my
table.
play testers, so you had to stand on the table and pull it down. And one of my play testers planted the beans like right away before anything else had happened. And I had to make a decision. It was like, do I wait and like nothing happens until they open the hatch? And I was like, no, I'll just like make it so that it can bust through the roof.
Fair enough. All right, so as you were creating this, what were you happiest with for yourself? What thing in the room makes you the happiest?
I mean, I really like the rainbow puzzle.
Fair enough.
That's
not a surprise.
In terms of puzzles, yeah. But I just like, I have such a vivid picture of it in my mind. Like it is really a place that I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be great to just go here for a bit? You know, the cozy fire and all the interesting things to look at. You did set up the
vibes a lot. Like, we could feel that.
Yeah. Oh, good. It's funny. The other thing that, because of the timing, normally when you come back down the beanstalk and you're soaking wet, a nice warm set of fresh clothes by the fire appears and you can get changed, but you're like really keen to get into making it the ointment, so I've just let that part go. But because I'm always thinking like, oh, I wouldn't want to be cold and wet while I'm doing the rest of this stuff.
No, that's fair. Pacing wise, that could totally depend on where they're up to in the room at that point. That's very fair thinking. Well, yeah, rainbow puzzle, absolute highlight. Also, I really like bees. I like bees. So any room with them, I'm always in favor of.
Oh yeah, you can put a bee into a room. It's a good room. No, I agree. I think the rainbow puzzle was really nice, but the whole room felt like everything made sense within itself, and everything was themed into the space really well. I thought it was a really nice
That's interesting how much
construction. Yeah.
like the variance between like I feel like we were given quite a lot right away. Like there wasn't that much gating.
No, we pretty much had access to everything
And
from
it was
the start.
figuring out how to use them together, which it's just one of the different types of rooms that you can do, and I think that was done successfully. Like nothing felt too much like it was just everything is out in the open. There are no puzzles here.
Yeah, well, I was getting a little worried that you were feeling like overwhelmed with the number of things that you're collecting. But I mean, that's the great thing with this style of room where once you have everything, then you can just go and solve, right? Which is what you did.
Yeah,
For sure.
Exactly.
It's very much, you get a feel for it just as you're going through a room. Is this going to be one where I stop and pause as I discover a new thing and mess around with that for a really long time? Or is it nodding, collecting, figuring out, and then it's all going to fall into place in pieces towards the end? And ideally, often, you will get a feel for that pretty early on, which type it is, and both work.
I had a lot of fun with it. Was there anything for you, Danny? Did you have a moment where you were like feeling smart and accomplished as you went
I
through?
feel like you nabbed the good smart moments
You think?
for this a lot of the time. You went straight to, oh, this is magic switchy draw. You saw rainbow. I did think a second before you said it, I thought about putting the rainbow on the table. I feel like I was just trying to do all the practical bits, like saying, hey, this window opens, doesn't it?
Yeah. I did complete. I had forgotten to check the door and the window and all that sort of stuff coming back in, so that was great. Did you envision like was your Mirror Man meant to be also like a hint giving solution?
Yeah, if someone wanted hints, was that going to be a
Because at one
thing?
point we said maybe breath of cloud is smoke, and you were just like, the Mirror Man looks at you as like, you're an idiot. Get out of here.
Yeah, it is kind of a convenient hinting mechanism. And you had mentioned, oh, what if leaving through the beanstalk was counted as leaving? And so if you'd checked with your reflection, then you would have gotten the thumbs up.
Rules. Like,
Yeah.
Get out of here. Okay, that's nice. It's fun. It's nice. Even that, right? Like the theming of this room, I think, really was its strong suit in terms of. I mean, like it was a lot of fun. The puzzles were nice, but like it had a very consistent feel, the whole way through. And I think there was nothing that really clashed with that, which was lovely. And even like, how do you give hints? Like there's a little guy in there, and he can give you hints, and he lives in the mirror. Like that. Even that, like, consistently fit. And I think it's a good thing for people when they're designing rooms, either in this form or in other forms. It's a really nice thing to think about. You can't just be like, and you can get hints if you need them. It's nice to be able to be like, and also here's a way to get hints if you want them. Like, maybe even more so for physical design, right? Like, imagine like, you're in the cabin in the mystical woods, and it's like, and then jump on your walkie-talkie and be like, hey, can I get some help? And it's like, walkie-talkies, they can feel really nice. But if you can put an in-universe, like, interesting hint system, it just really, like, adds to that engagement and the immersion in the space.
I believe once in a real-world room we have had Mirror Person be our hint.
Have we?
We have.
I don't remember this.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah. But see, that's cool, right? That sort of stuff's really cool. Like, the very first escape room I ever did was in a prison, and to get hints, there was, like, a secret, like, hole in the wall where someone, like, would like drop in screwed up little notes like they've been sent in from the outside. So whenever and they're like handwritten, and it was such a small thing, but it was great.
It felt good.
It felt like, oh, I'm getting hints like I'm in a prison, like someone's dropping in like, hey, don't don't do this, don't do that. Like it was really and it just made the theming come together in a really nice way.
Better than the awkward phone call to the front desk. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you up to?
Yeah, well, yes, exactly.
There's also something nice to the simplicity. It sounds so simple, and yet, as well as not everyone's going to think of doing it this way, which is cool. You got the door. There's a mirror. Explains to you. Mirror person gives you your quest and lets you in. And then once you're in, the mirror's on this side now. I don't know why. It sounds so simple. I don't think everyone would have done that and would have come up with that.
And it feels cool.
Yeah.
It feels like interesting and magical, but also normal. Because it just works out really well. So I think the construction of it the whole way through was really nicely done.
I
felt
controlled.
bad messing up the person's bed.
Yeah, that's true.
I did it, but I felt bad. Setting their bed on fire and kicking it away. But
Flipping their table
over. smashing through their ceiling.
Yeah,
you know, it
how
worked out
many
really
of
well.
those magic beans can they possibly have?
Is there anything else like going through this? Like, were there any, when you were playtesting it, anything that changed or was different or odd or?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked through a lot of the things. It
Yeah, I
has
think so.
changed quite a bit. The actual space has been very consistent,
Nice.
like the storyline and the yard, and then going in and all of the main objects are the same. It's just sort of the puzzles kind of, well, I made it more puzzly at first. It was a lot more just like finding physical objects that made sense.
Right.
Which was fun, but I was like, oh, I need more puzzles.
It can be good to balance it.
Yeah. And yeah, but I think it's the vibe has been pretty similar the whole way through, and I'm glad you enjoyed spending some time in that place too.
It was great fun. All right, well, I think we can probably...
Yeah, is there anything else that you think we need to cover?
I think we...
I feel like we've said pretty much everything.
Actually, I have one other question.
Yeah.
Is this the only... Like, I know we talked a little bit about maybe that you may have done some others, or like, this is the one you've brought on for the show. Have you designed other escape rooms?
Yeah, so I've done a few different kinds. This is the one that I've really spent the most time on. There's another one, Arrested Development theme that I've written. Only my husband's play tested that one so far. And then I've done a few kind of escape room type things for my kids.
Nice.
One sort of like a really simple point and click like graphic with links.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's fun. And then last year, for one of their birthdays, I made like an escape room scavenger hunt type thing. So
Nice.
I really like making up puzzles, but this is by far the one that's the most involved.
Nice, lovely. Oh, well, that's good. I think that is one of those fun things. You've done that a few times as well, like for family things where family like, you're a puzzle person, give us a scavenger hunt.
I did that last Christmas, yeah.
Yeah. But it's good fun. It's nice, and I think as a kid as well, they were very doing things like that was very memorable. Especially like neighborhood gets together. Like it's an Easter egg hunt, but it's across the you got to walk around and find.
That'd be nice.
clues
I
and
didn't
find
do
things
that
like
so much. That would have been nice.
Yeah, they're always fun things like that. Wonderful. Well, look, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad you brought it on for us.
And thank you so much.
If you make more, feel free to bring them back. But they're always good, and it's just good to know, like for people listening. You can make them. You can make them, and you don't either something is involved with this or something as simple as like a little treasure hunt. That can either be as simple. I say simple. They can be much more complex than a real escape room, to be honest. But yeah, you can just make them, right? Like you can do them. You can put them together. They're great fun, and they're good experiences for everybody involved. Cara, I don't know if people wanted to. Is there anything if people wanted to like see more of things that you've done, or is any way you want to point them to other interesting things that you found, or do you want to just say goodbye?
I don't really have any other puzzly things out there.
Sure.
You can find me on LinkedIn if you want. But...
Yeah, find Cara on LinkedIn, and then put like creative solutions as a skill, and everybody can be like, yes, I listened to Cara's episode of this podcast. She does have that skill. Is that how LinkedIn still works?
I have no idea. I've never been on LinkedIn.
People could verify, like, be like, yep, I agree. Thumbs up that they can do Excel.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
yeah.
That's
People
so
can
weird.
like vouch for your skills.
Yeah, they can vouch for your skills.
That's so strange.
Everybody vouch for Cara on LinkedIn. Well, thank you so much, Cara, for coming on and running that room for us. It was fantastic. We really enjoyed it.
Had a great time.
And thank you, Dani, for playing with me.
Thank you for solving the puzzly bits.
And thank you, everybody at home, for listening. If you want to help support the show, just tell people about it. Let people know about the show. Go find places where people are looking for things like this and tell them about this show. Word of mouth is the best way to advertise a podcast. It's the thing that'll actually make people listen. You can also support the show on Patreon. It's how we support ourselves. We don't run ads. We just crowdfund the show. So if you sign up, anybody at any level can appear as an NPC in one of Dani's rooms. And also there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's weekly bonus episodes for all of our $5 donors. Often it's behind the scenes, like, recordings of us playtesting. We had a whole series of murder mysteries that we solved in little 2-minute murder mystery chunks, and lots of great fun stuff there. There's $10 donors get video content like us reacting to escape rooms in sitcoms and making a diorama
do
of...
another one of those.
There's a whole bunch of fun stuff, and it's a great place to help support the show and keep the actual real show free for everybody to listen to and help support the arts. So if you can support us there, that'd be fantastic. All right. Goodbye, everybody. See you all later. Bye.